we're going to talk about how to add two power series. So let's look at the following example. Find a power series for the function 3x minus 1 over x squared minus 1, centered at 0. Now if I look at this function, it's a polynomial over a polynomial. It's a rational function. So we should think back to what we did when we learned integration. We used partial fractions for things like this. So let's do that here. Let's rewrite this function with partial fractions. So you need to factor the denominator. It factors into x minus 1, x plus 1, because it's a difference of squares. So now let's set up our partial fractions. You're going to have two fractions. And what are those fractions going to be? An a over x minus 1 and a b over x plus 1. And now you need to solve for these coefficients here, this a and this b. So I multiply everything by this denominator here, just like we did back when we did partial fractions. And then we can plug in values of x and solve for a and b. What should I plug in for x? Maybe let's let x equal 1. So if x is 1, you'll get 2 equals 2a. This tells me that a is 1. And if I let x be negative 1, we'll get negative 4 equals negative 2b. b must be 2. So what we've done is we've rewritten the fraction 3x minus 1, x minus 1 and x plus 1 as 1 over x minus 1 and 2 over x plus 1. And now we're going to take these two fractions and we're going to write these two other functions and write power series for them. So let's start with the last one, 2 over x plus 1. I'm going to switch the 1 and the x in the denominator. And I've already got my 1. I need this to be a minus. So this will be 1 minus negative x. So the numerator 2 will be a, and negative x will be r. So the power series for this would be 2 times negative x to the n, or 2 times negative 1 to the n, x to the n. So that is the power series centered at 0 for that second fraction. Let's find a power series centered at 0 for the first one. 1 over x minus 1. So just like before, I'm going to flip the two terms in the denominator. And now I'm going to because this is a negative 1 here, I'm going to factor out a negative 1. And I'm just going to move that negative 1 to the numerator. Negative 1 over 1 minus x. So here is my Here is my a in the top, -1, and here is my r, it's just x. So my power series here would be negative x to the n. So to get my function, which was 3x minus 1 over x squared minus 1, all I got to do is take these two power series together and add them. So they both have, if I look at these two here, they both have an x to the n that I'm going to factor out. So it'll be 2 -1 to the n minus 1 x to the n. And this would be my power series representation for the function f of x. Now we can ask about the interval of convergence here. To figure out the interval of convergence, you're going to have to go back to your two power series and look at their interval of convergence. So here, my r was -x. So here, my radius of convergence is 1. If I look back here, my r was x. So they both have the same radius of convergence. I'm getting the absolute value of x is less than 1, which means my interval of convergence would be -1 to 1.